doesn't work, we'll just do that.
See what happens.
Yeah. So now, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live. We were live on CKLU at least, so.
Yeah, CKLU got to hear our experiment.
I know. So we're just in the middle of our weather, and thanks for joining us.
We're live now.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. So now that we know when we schedule live event on our,
Still have to go live.
we still have to press the button. Remember, I was saying, I bet you that's a
It
thing.
was a nice thought, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, thanks for joining us. It's 14 degrees currently in greater city of Sudbury, mainly sunny, which is awesome. Cloudy, 40% chance of showers this afternoon, and wind is the usual 20 kilometers starting out, but it's coming from the west. It'll be gusting to 60, and so it'll be a little bit windy. High of 20 today, and the temperature, though, will be falling to 11 this afternoon, so it's going to get warmer and then get cooler. Tonight, cloudy, 40% chance of showers. Early this evening, becoming partly cloudy near midnight. The wind is northwest and gusting to 60. The low will be 7. Very cool tonight. And then Saturday, mix of sun and cloud. Sunny in the morning, and it'll be high of 19. UV index will be 9 on. Here's your long range. Friday, as we said, chance of showers, 40% chance of showers, high of 21. Saturday, let's see here. Oh, we got to do that. Already did, but we'll do it again. So the Sunday is mix of sun and cloud. So the weekend looks okay. 19 on Saturday, 22 on Sunday, and then back into some chances of rain later on. But never trust that forecast. We give it every day, but because we do the weather here, I'm very cognizant of what we're talking about. Then when I go out and live it, I see it's not even close to what we're talking about. So I don't even know why we do weather on this show, to tell you the truth.
I like it.
Do you know why we do weather?
I'll give an analogy.
Sure.
So I took some Spanish classes.
Yes.
And I'm not fluent, but I know a little bit.
You're not fluent in Spanish.
I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I know
But
a
you
little
are
bit.
in French.
And I know a few things. Yeah, I
You're
know French,
fluent.
so it's easier for me to learn Spanish.
Yes.
So anyways, this is a weather analogy.
Okay.
If I'm watching a show that's taking place in Spanish,
Yeah.
and there are English subtitles,
Mm-hmm.
then I understand what's going on.
Well, I do too, because I just read it.
And let me change it. If I'm watching it and there's Spanish subtitles, then I know what's going on. Because I know enough Spanish that if I'm cued as to what they're saying,
Oh, okay.
then I'll understand. But if I have no visual stimulus, sometimes it's hard for me to follow. So I understand the grammar structure. I understand a lot of the basic words, verbs, things like that.
Okay.
So the weather's like that with me. It's
Okay.
like if someone gives me, in the morning, they give me an overview.
Yeah.
Then during the day, I kind of fill in the reality using that knowledge.
Yeah, I'm trying to
So
follow
if it's
you there.
cloudy
Yeah.
and you in the morning said it's cloudy with chance of showers,
Yeah.
then my mind will say, okay,
There is a chance
that there's going to be showers. It
But
doesn't mean there definitely
going
will
to
be.
be.
I don't rely 100% on it,
Yeah.
but it kind of informs my.
But a lot of times it's way off. Like the forecast is like
I can't remember the last time it was
on.
way off.
Oh yeah, no, it was like the thunderstorms when you came here the other day. It said it was
What's
just
wrong
going
with that?
No, it just didn't forecast any rain whatsoever. But then there was major thunderstorms just at the end.
I thought it did.
No, no, it's supposed to be
In the morning.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sunny. Partly cloudy, sunny.
Remember, but do you remember that day? It said
I do.
It's going to be hot and sunny, and you said this is silly. It's thunderstorming,
Yeah.
and then it was hot and sunny
After
day.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
but it
after
didn't
that.
say
That's
anything.
what weather does. Predicts
But it didn't
the
say
day,
anything
right?
about a possibility even of a thunderstorm at all.
Yeah,
and then
I
it
guess
came, and then it was like, oh yeah,
Out
it
of
was a
nowhere.
thunderstorm now.
Very short-lived thunderstorm.
Yeah, but it is
Yeah,
what
I
it
kind
is.
of I see that. I see the merits of that.
But again, I don't. It's a lot goes into that. Like try. How do you even guess what the weather's going to be? Like how does this even happen?
I don't know a lot, but I know that they use models and they use historical data, and they predict. To a large degree, it's a prediction.
Yeah. Do they use like what kind of models do they use?
I wasn't ready for that.
Okay. So what are we going to talk about today anyways? There's lots of stuff. So
Yeah, it's kind of an eclectic mix, but there's a few interesting things. Most of them, super local, super important, Sudbury area stuff.
Yeah.
The first of which we haven't talked about sports in depth lately, but there's a good article on Sudbury Star about Sudbury Spartans.
There is.
How they started their season off pretty strong.
Cool, yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. I thought it would be worth mentioning Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram
Yep.
is 100 years in business. So the South End Doyle dealership.
Doyle Dodge, yep.
Well, Doyle, all those brands.
Doyle everything, yeah.
Yeah.
not just
so
Dodge.
they donated a pretty good chunk of money to a key Sudbury charity.
Yeah.
And like I said, 100 years in business for them. So pretty cool. Passenger traffic at the Greater Sudbury Airport
Yep.
is about half of what it was before
Okay.
COVID.
Yep.
But it's at its highest point since COVID right now.
For sure.
So they're calling it a passenger traffic spike at
People
the
are
Sudbury
traveling.
Airport.
People are traveling again. Why do you think
It's the
that
way
is?
it seems. I think people are just ready.
Yeah.
I think people are just ready, and they just had that news yesterday we covered about how the domestic and Canadian citizen incoming vaccine mandate will be dropped.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe that means more people will be traveling by air.
That's what I would guess.
The last story of the day that we'll cover, I thought, you would get a kick out of this. It just seems like something you would really enjoy. It's not exactly local, but we did just have the provincial elections.
Yep.
And the federal government, which works in cohort with the provincial governments for healthcare,
Yep.
one of the promises of the NDP Liberal coalition was that they would bring dental care in tranches. So like first young children would have it, and then seniors, and then there's different tranches. So they actually found out that the program's going to cost about double what they originally estimated. So we could talk a little bit more about that. But
What about the KED?
the KED is the headline of the day.
And we also want to talk about James Topp today as well.
Exactly.
He came through town a couple days ago and had quite a big rally, but never made it to any mainstream news. And then we'll talk about how mainstream news, that's where we get a lot of our news from, is mainstream news. And when they don't cover something, it's hard for us to cover it. So we have to kind of do our own firsthand journalism. So anyways, we'll talk about that as well. That'll be like the big highlight of the news today. But
I want to hear about it. Like,
yeah.
what was the original story if someone hasn't heard about it?
Yeah, so James Topp is a celebrated veteran that is big on the whole making sure that we can continue to be a democracy and be a free country, and shed light on some of the things that maybe are going on that we are not aware of, that mandates are still in effect in many ways, shapes, and forms, and that, like we talked yesterday, the government says for now we're just kind of putting the mask mandate on hold or on pause. Mm-hmm. Like Laurentian said, a lot of these mandates are just on pause, and they're letting us know that they have a button and they can just keep turning the button on and off. And James is kind of like one of the people that are like, wait a minute here, I don't know if that's going to be the greatest solution or not. Because communism shouldn't be the solution to COVID. There should be other methods within our already framed legal system and things that can work. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't just totally throw all the legal system out the window mm-hmm. and then implement a new one because of an illness. So that's one of James Topp's, I guess, platforms, if you can have a platform if you're not an elected official.
He seems to have a pretty cool background as well.
He does, yes.
Like, he's not just like a...
He's not just a dude.
Doesn't work at a store or something.
No. So what I'm going to do is I was going to be gathering some more information as we were going through the morning here.
No worries.
We could
I was looking at the
Sioux
Star because Sudbury, like you said, the mainstream
So the Sioux Star
news
covered it,
in
but the
yeah.
Sudbury Star did not.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
interesting.
it could have been they just haven't gotten around to it. And we
Yeah.
thought that they would have by today.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
But James Topp, so he, everything you said is true. Just going to add on to it. So he is a former armed forces warrant officer.
Yeah.
And he's walking
Across.
all the way across
From.
the very, very west.
So from Vancouver.
He started
I think,
in
or whatever.
February.
Yeah.
And he's been walking since then.
Yeah.
And he'll finish in Ottawa, which is just a few days away. Finish on June 30th.
For sure.
So that's pretty amazing. Makes me think a lot of another Canadian celebrity who went across Canada, or at least tried to.
Who ran.
He ran.
Started off
he
with
got
the other
worldwide attention.
And still has worldwide acclaim for what he did. And his name's Terry Fox, I believe.
Yep,
Referring
Terry
to.
Fox.
From
But the
BC.
march, the reason it's interesting because the march actually began at the Terry Fox statue.
Oh, ever cool.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of a Easter egg.
See, something we don't realize is that, the media has really done an interesting job of possibly demonizing the idea of standing up for freedom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's just an interesting thing if you think about it. There's always been and will continue to be a kind of like a push and pull with freedom, with people. There, as we know, even it could go back even before this life, even kind of thing. So so it continues today. It's a very important thing to make sure, and I'm glad that we at least have people like this that are. It's supposed to be the media that does that. It's supposed to be the media that are the watchdogs for us, for our freedom, to make sure people who are out there who may have nefarious intentions to possibly take away freedom. There has always been people who are looking to take away freedom. And so if there are people out there that are looking to do that, we just need to know who they are, because they are out there. So media is supposed to be the one that keeps an eye on it. And unfortunately, if the people that are included in the ones that are on the side of taking away freedom, because there's ebbs and flows throughout history. There's times when we're free, and then there's times when we kind of lose our ability to understand what that means, and then we're not free. And then we're like, wait a minute, we're not free. And then we have to kind of get out of that, and then we become free again. Then we forget what it took us to get there, and then we forget, and then we go back, and we're not free anymore. So if we look at how long that we've been, quote unquote, free, there has to be some type of movement to take away the freedom of people, because that's just the way history has always been. So is that going on today? Are there people that are doing that? Should we be cautious? Should we be watchful to that? And if so, what are we watching for? Who are the people? Who are the players? So obviously this person stands up and just says, hey, I want freedom. I'm a freedom guy, and I'm going to do something for it. Now, whether or not, it's so how the media covers this is interesting. So the Sioux Star spin on it is just
he wants to start a dialogue. Yeah, I would say it's pretty straight down the middle.
It's unbiased?
Well, unbiased is...
I know.
That's unattainable.
I know. But
it's like saying they didn't breathe when they wrote the article.
Okay.
It's like...
But at least they covered it.
Happen.
They covered it in the Sioux.
Well, just the fact that you write or don't write about something is a bias.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. If
Right?
we can't find any mainstream media on it in Sudbury, that kind of...
That's bias. It's called a visibility bias. I was listening to some American contract law.
Yeah.
Learning about different contracts, just, in my spare time.
For sure.
And one of the cases I was learning about was Cohen versus Coles.
Okay.
And it's often taught as a precedent for the intent versus if you actually filled a contract.
Yeah.
Because it's all about contract law, what I'm learning about. And in the story, it was a Minnesota governor race. And one of the candidates found out something not so good about the other candidate. So he called the news and said, I want you to run this, but you can't say that it was me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That goes on all the time, actually. But yeah.
And guess what happened? The news ran the story, but they also ran
Said it was him?
They also said it was him.
Uh-oh.
So what happened is the original reporter who promised him that they wouldn't run it about him
Yeah.
ethically was opposed to it and told his editor, I don't want to do this because I promised him we wouldn't
Yeah.
do it. And the editor said, we're going to do it anyway. So
Yeah.
basically now the precedent is, as long as you had the intent, to not do that, it's not fraud.
Oh.
So as long as you originally intended to tell the truth, even if you end up doing something against the contract,
How do you prove that?
you can sue them for breach of contract.
Yeah.
But if your intent, it's all about intent. So the court has to look at what they think the intent was. So the way I look at this is like, whatever your bias is, that's fine. But we should really look at it, because in retrospect, we have 20/20 vision. So we can look back and say, I think they intended to do this, whatever. And it's the same with the Ottawa
For sure.
protests. We've had enough time now that we can look back and see who benefited from enacting the Emergencies Act. And
For sure.
we could see who
That's right.
stood to benefit and say, I think their intent was to do this.
For sure.
But you can't do that at the time.
No.
You don't have enough information.
Yeah, I have video from when he came into Sudbury, and there was it seemed at least 150 people at minimal that are there with him as he's giving a speech and whatever. And then I've no news coverage.
Right.
That's odd that the news would have been alerted. He would have sent out press releases. Obviously, the Sioux Star covered it. And then our news just didn't.
Do you think it's possible they just want to avoid conflict?
I don't know.
And this is considered like controversial in
Possibly.
some way? I don't think it's controversial.
I don't either. I don't think anything's really controversial. That's the problem today. People are like, that's too controversial, or that's going to hurt someone's feelings, possibly. But it's okay just to hurt, someone's. It starts off with you shouldn't talk about that because it hurts someone's feelings, but then you're going to hurt someone's feelings by even not doing it. So that's not the real reason why we don't talk about things, because you're always going to possibly hurt someone's feelings.
One of the things that caused me to become more conservative is that I realized it must be that because they always, people always say he said, she said about conservatives and liberals, and who's the ones that get offended all the time and stuff. And one of the things that kind of pulled me to the more conservative side is I realized it's completely one-sided. Like, liberals are definitely the ones with soft feelings that get their feelings hurt. And why is that? Because their opinions are always allowed.
Yep.
So I realized the persons whose opinions are always allowed are the ones with that have easily offended tendencies. Anyways.
Well, this is you're right. I'm just searching this guy's name, James Top, and I'm putting in James Top Sudbury.
Dig for more.
So the only story I could find was an earlier article from Sudbury.com saying that he was one of the people's names implemented in the Freedom Rally.
That's true.
That he was charged.
That's the only way he was mentioned.
Soldier charged for speaking out against the mandates.
So it's in a negative way, basically.
For sure. Yeah. So again, like it's the media's coverage of this. You can just look up his name, James Top. James, as you know how to spell that, TOPP, and check into it for yourself. And I would think look into your own views and not to be skewed by media's views or
ours.
I was just going to say, including ours, because we're just basically, giving our opinions on subjects, and that's what we're doing. These are our opinions we're giving, and you have your opinions too, but you should be doing all you can do to be informed as well, and we all should be doing that. So Jerome is saying they can fill out and submit a hurt feelings report. Okay.
Good.
That's a good one. Jerome.
So speaking about informed.
Okay, we're going to hang on 1 second. We're going to be right back after this. we
I
go.
was almost expecting the weather song for some reason.
You like that? You like that weather song?
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I know.
So the headline of the day, what seems to be on a lot of people's mind, is the new controversy with KED. The mayor and city council seem to be, again, disagreeing. And this time it's about contractor construction.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why this is a problem?
I think because they have a few people bidding for the contract.
That's right.
To build it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to kind of look through their proposals or whatever and pick one.
Basically, there were 3 companies chosen to submit bids.
Yep.
But only 2 actually did.
Mm-hmm. So one's fallen off the wayside.
Ellis Dawn Corporation did not submit a bid. So
They're
what that
big
leads
too.
to,
They're big.
What that leads to is that there's only 3.
I thought there was
There's only two
left.
effectively 2 companies that
Yeah.
submitted bids, which isn't enough really, because they could.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So they only have 2 people bidding now on the KED.
which
project.
is like some
Isn't
people
one of
think
them-
that that's not enough. Some people do.
Do we have the other 2 that are still bidding there?
Yeah.
Because I think one of them. Do they have the names?
Ball Construction
Ball. Okay.
and PCL
PCL.
Constructors.
Okay.
Do you know both of these?
I do.
So these are bigger companies
Mhm.
that have resources and talent and things.
Well, they're able to build big edifices like arenas.
So
Obviously.
fourth ward councilor for the fourth. Oh, why am I having such a hard time with that
I
phrase?
don't know.
I don't know.
You read so many books. It's
Counselor,
hard to believe.
You know what it is?
I don't.
Never mind. I don't need to talk about it. It's just a today thing.
You know what? I'm frazzled today too because we're on YouTube Live for the first time today.
That's not why I am, but
And you're getting like kind of like the jitters because everyone on YouTube is watching you.
the whole YouTubes.
Everyone who watches YouTube is watching today.
It's so Councillor McCausland raised concerns of the fact that Dario Zulich, who is the developer,
Yeah.
is the CEO of a contracting company which is partnered with Ball Construction.
Okay, that's where I was getting to. So I was going to say, does it give the names? Because I thought, is Dario's company one of the ones that's bidding as well? Because then that's going to make things even more interesting if there's only 2 and his is one of them. But it's kind of like that. But he's partnering with Ball. And so if Ball is chosen, what are people going to think?
I think they're already thinking.
They're already
because
thinking.
Ward Councillor 4, McCausland, brought it up.
What did he say?
He said, wow, it's just a little, alarming.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's only 2 companies that submitted bids.
Yeah.
So it's could lead to a little bit of question asking.
Interesting.
I mean, wouldn't in his position, wouldn't you think the same thing?
I would.
Possibly
I
this
did
is a
think
little
that.
suspicious.
Well, I know he has a construction company that he owns. That
I'm not suspicious.
experience.
I don't think anything malicious is going on.
no, but it is.
But
at least it's
with
transparent.
a big contract like that, the other headline that I think most people will miss because you have to read more down the article
Yeah.
is that they're going to use a progressive design build system. Meaning, it's just like when you build your own house, the bank will release funds in several stages
Okay.
so that you can finish the foundation, and then you give him more money, you can do the framing, and then you're given more money, and then you can do like the electrical and
Definitely.
plumbing and stuff. So it's like
Stages.
piece by piece, and
For
the reason
sure.
they want to do that is they want each stage to be given its own quote and then fulfilled after
Yeah.
that.
Makes
Which
sense.
I guess gives them more flexibility should they not be happy
Same thing
at
if
any
you
stage.
if you build a new house, a lot of banks will give you the staged financing,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
This is a lot bigger than a house.
But anyway, so there's a number of advantages for that. You get more input on the design,
Yes.
possibility of flexibility, transparency of project costs, and then when you come to the end of the contract, it's a lot more likely that everyone's going to be happy because something wasn't done wrong at the very beginning and then
Yes.
layered on top. I actually learned about that in my contracts that I was learning about too.
Yeah.
There was
Well-
a story in the United States of a guy who put the wrong pipes in a house.
Okay.
Like a contractor who was building a house for a guy.
Put the wrong
And the guy
pipes.
specifically said, I want this kind of pipes in it.
Yeah.
And this company, or this brand of pipes. And the contractor forgot. And then he put in a different brand, but that was very similar in quality.
Mm-hmm.
And then the architect didn't notice, like the person in charge of the project didn't notice until the whole house was like finished.
Wow.
Which meant that it would cost a lot of money to go back and change the pipes. So ended up creating this cool case law. And
you like this kind of stuff.
I won't tell you who ended up winning. But it's just funny that they end up matching up with stuff that I'm learning. But I want to talk about football.
You want to talk about football? We're not even. We didn't even unpack that KED thing.
I think
very
we
much.
did.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like
what else is there to say?
I know we've been talking about it for quite a while. Will it ever be built? That's the big question. Will
Highway 69
ever have a 4-lane to Toronto the whole way ever? And will we ever have a new arena here in town?
Here's an idea.
Is what we want.
It's not as cool of a name.
Okay.
But let's nix the KED project.
Okay.
And let's put it in the South End.
Oh my goodness! To add even more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, just start over.
Yeah.
Like
So it'd be the SED instead of the KED. South End.
South End District. Well, you think of
The Kingsway.
Highway 69
Yeah.
going south. There's like Richard Lake, McFarland Lake.
Yeah.
That's like there's lots of room. Maybe they would avoid a lot of the problems they were saying about the salt. Remember that was one of the concerns was the salt.
Yeah.
Stormwater. Maybe that
Runoff.
I don't know, the runoff. Maybe that would solve the problem.
Maybe.
Is the location a big problem? Do you think?
Well, the location's been a big problem from the beginning.
Because the KED would be very convenient for the 12 people in Wanapate.
Yeah. People from Wanapate could come very easily.
The 12 people and their dogs.
Well,
but the South End is,
if you look at the bypass going, from Garson, the Garson-Coniston Road, you could have people coming Cape Real, Radar Road, Garson-Coniston Road, and coming to the KED there. Then you have people from Coniston and Wanapate.
True.
It's not
the little towns.
It's not the most central.
No, but with
place.
a project that big, you do need somewhere empty.
Yeah,
right?
You need lots of space, and you need parking, and that's the problem with downtown. There is absolutely zero parking for this place. It seems like we're beating a dead horse here, but the whole thing now. There's another kind of glitch. We only have 2 bidders for this place. Yeah, Miles agrees with you. He says lots of room behind the Southridge Mall there.
Yeah. It's like right in town.
Probably be more central than on Kingsway. But again,
well, if you can't find the room in the South End by the Southridge Mall, just put it on Highway 69. It's still
similar.
It's still like just as convenient,
just as accessible
as the KED.
Yeah,
would be.
I know.
But again, the name's not as cool. So
SED.
Yeah.
Well, then we could say the SED Arena,
SED Arena.
Yeah, the SED Arena that we're speaking of. Speaking of SED Arena, generic. Anyways,
yeah, that is good.
We got lots more to talk about.
I want to talk about football.
We're going to talk about football as soon as we come back. All right, we're going to be talking about football. Here we are.
Sudbury Spartans.
The Spartans. Is that the new way you pronounce them? The Spartans?
Spartans. They have a tan. So Sudbury Spartans have played 2 games so far.
Mm-hmm.
How have those gone?
Good.
How good?
Very good.
Very, very well.
Very excellently good. Yes.
Seems like they've done really well. So
They've done
North
great.
Bay, they've played North Bay and they've played Toronto. And both of them were pretty big wins.
I know. They're doing good this year so far.
I mean, Toronto, that one surprises me.
Why?
Wouldn't they be like the better team? Like,
why would Toronto? Why? Because they have more people to choose from?
I guess, yeah.
I don't know, but
Is that not how it works?
yes and no. They got a lot more people down there to choose from, but at the same time, they have to go from huge distances and traffic
So do
and
we.
everything to practice. And here it's easier. You just go to James Jerome Field from anywhere because it's kind of central. Speaking of the theme we're just talking about with the KED, it is central where they practice and stuff. And anyways, I think it's easier to put together a solid team from a city like Sudbury than it would be from Toronto. That's my
Why don't
take
they just build the
on it.
KD where James Jerome is?
Because James
Lily
Jerome
Creek.
is there.
Yeah, just destroy it. It's fine.
Yeah, you'd have the Science North, and the
Hospital,
new arena,
Science
the hospital
North, new arena.
there for sure. Yeah, the whole idea of where it is, we were supposed to have that all said and done, and
It's
that's
pretty
why
much like done deal now.
City Council had the big meeting, and people weighed in online and gave their 2 cents, and they agreed it should go on the Kingsway. And now, but at the same time, people are still divided on that. It's almost like a 50-50 kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I even kind of really have sided where I think it's the best place or not. But holy cow, let's just get on with it anyways and build something, like. At the same time, I'm going to criticize it when it's built because
Yeah, you are.
one of the things I don't understand is that the arena itself is only going to be a 5,000 seater, the same seating that we have currently.
Doesn't seem like enough.
That doesn't, to me, why wouldn't you add more seats? Like add an upper level that you can kind of just zip off and put advertising, on it when it's not being used, and then zip off some stuff and then use it when you need it, kind of thing. For big concerts, there were people are coming in from all over Northern Ontario
Yep.
to fill the darn thing. For big events like the World Juniors, Memorial Cup, you name it. Anyways, so
If you put it where James Jerome is, then
Yeah.
the Laurentian teams could use it
yeah, for sure.
for their bigger games. Yeah, 5,000 doesn't seem like enough.
No, 5,000 seater does not seem enough.
Like I went to university basketball games that were 20,000.
I know. That's university for crying out loud.
Women's basketball.
I know. Sports is bigger in the States than it is here. But you'd think for hockey, which is our one kind of main draw,
Yeah.
I know we're trying basketball and football
Well,
here.
college. Well, to be fair, the OHL is like our college league. For hockey. Like we have college hockey,
Yeah.
but really, the OHL and the what's the other one? The AHL
Yes.
and the Eastern Canada League.
Yep.
Like they're all. That's like our version of the NCAA.
Yeah, well, Miles is saying that, New Brunswick, Moncton, similar sized city, has a 10,000 seating
I doubt
stadium.
Moncton has as many outlying cities as we do, though.
That's what I mean. Yeah, Sudbury is actually probably bigger
Yeah.
population, and they have 10,000 seater stadium. And we have.
Moncton.
We're planning on building a new one, which we can't even build, and it's only 5,000 seats. So there is something going on here that's not quite. The dots are not quite connecting, and it seems to always happen in Sudbury for some strange reason. Not sure why. Maybe you should run for mayor, Zach. And
I'm not running for mayor.
no,
I don't think anything would change.
yeah.
I think I would become corrupted.
Ooh. So that's what Ghislaine is kind of saying about world politics or
That
whatever.
I would become corrupted.
She's kind of lost hope with stuff
I get that a lot.
that our opinions are mattering less and less, kind of thing.
Well, my personal opinion matters less and less.
But what about so back to the Spartans here? They're winning, and they're playing what, the Sioux this weekend?
That's right. That's right. So the Sioux doesn't have as stellar a record as Sudbury.
Yeah,
'Cause they
we're kicking
tied
it.
in their last game.
Mm-hmm.
11-11, I believe it was.
Yeah. The Sioux did. See, the Sioux could have a good team too. They've
Similar
had
to
a good
Sudbury,
team.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking for the score here. But anyway, so the Sioux actually, I think, has a cooler mascot than we do. They're the Sioux Steelers.
Yeah. So what's their mascot?
We're not the Nickelers.
Oh my goodness. We're Spartans though.
We're Spartans because of the Italians. Is
Yeah.
that why?
I have no idea where the Spartans name came from Sudbury, but I'm sure when Randy comes on, he won't be on today.
Maybe he'll be able to explain because he's like a historian.
He actually won't be on next week either, but he said after that he'll be back. And we can find out where the Spartans name came from. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not profiling anyone, but out of the names that they had in this article, they sound pretty Italian. Like sophomore quarterback Adam Rocca.
Yeah.
That's an Italian name.
Is that the Steelers
Josh
or Sudbury?
Kumo. That's an Italian name.
It's Sudbury.
Yeah, this is a Sudbury team.
Currently.
No, I'm saying Sudbury is like a...
Currently.
Maybe that's why we're the Spartans.
No. Yeah.
Well, Josh Kumo's a former player, but...
But the Sioux, historically and currently, has a larger Italian...
Is even more
Italian base than
true.
Sudbury does. It's
That's
a
true.
huge Italian population. We do have a huge Italian population here too. Don't get me wrong, but the Sioux is kind of like.
Well, why don't they be the Sioux Spartans?
I don't think Spartans has anything to do with that.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll ask Randy. I think that's our best bet.
It's our best bet.
Find out.
Speaking about best bets.
Best bets. Best bet.
Mike Doyle, Dodge
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Jeep Ram.
Ooh, that's a lot of cars.
There's more, but I'll
Oh.
stop there. Marking 100 years in business, they decided to give not $100, but $25,000
Mm-hmm.
to the community campaign for Sudbury Charities Foundation.
Cool.
So it's a car dealership, if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
heard of it. They sell cars.
There's one in Sudbury that's the longest running car dealership in Canada.
That's the Valley one. No, not the Valley.
I thought it could have
Gabriel.
even been I thought it could have been these guys.
I think it's the Gabriel one.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm going to look that
I
up.
think it might be these guys. But it's one of them anyways in town. Is the longest running dealership in Canada. It's been around the longest.
Yeah, I'm going to bet you right now it's this one.
No. You just have to
Mazuka.
say it's not the longest in Canada though. The
We're doing live fact checks.
longest oldest car dealership in Canada, Sudbury, if you put that.
Oh, it's the oldest Chrysler dealer.
Oh, there you go. See? I knew there was something there.
Wait, is that what you were thinking?
It's not
of?
Mazuka, though. Oh, Mazuka is the oldest Chrysler
Yeah,
dealer?
it is.
No, oldest car dealership in Canada. I'm typing with one hand. Sorry, everyone.
This is the most random
Sudbury.
fact check of all time. Good for them. We're giving money to charity.
I don't know. Well, obviously, yes. I know they're very charitable. Canada's oldest Chrysler dealership right here.
That's the Mazuka.
It is. Oldest Ford dealership. Oldest Chrysler dealership. I thought there was another one too. Sudbury
Yeah.
Car Dealership
It's okay. You
celebrates
can just apologize.
100 years. So that's the same one we're talking about here. Doyle Dodge. Canada's oldest Chrysler dealership. It's not Mazuka. It says Doyle Dodge is Canada's oldest Chrysler dealership.
I think it's Mazuka.
CTV right here.
I think you're wrong.
December 2nd, 2021.
But
They-
Doyle Dodge isn't even Chrysler.
Dodge Chrysler is. Dodge is Chrysler.
I don't think so.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. Yes, Dodge is Chrysler. Dodge Chrysler. They're the same vehicle, basically. It's kind of like,
But are they a Chrysler dealer?
yeah. Dodge is Chrysler.
Okay, I'm going to trust you.
Yep.
I don't
Spartans.
Know why, I don't know why I thought that. But.
Was changed from Hard Rocks in 1967. Miles says.
See, that makes more sense
Used to be
me.
the Sudbury Hard Rocks.
Hard Rocks makes sense to me. But I was wrong, actually. The donation does consist of $25,000 annually.
Oh, wow.
So for 3 years.
That's huge. This
over
is
the
great.
next 3 years. So that's a huge donation.
Mm-hmm.
Not that $25,000 isn't impressive. It is.
Well, it is. Even one time would be.
But yeah,
awesome.
this is a big
Way to
deal.
go.
So let's talk about what the foundation will do. They send 100 children to camp through the Sudbury Manitoulin Children's Foundation. So it usually costs $600 per child. And this new donation will ensure that their goal is met.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it is pretty cool.
I like they're setting a precedent there. More businesses that could get involved behind the community to fund things like this would really help. I mean, we're always relying on politicians and, city for this, this grant for that. I think when you have businesses that step up and, that's what churches are good for. A lot of people,
Yep.
have different feelings about churches, but they really come through where government, there's a lot of holes that they drop the ball on, and just community groups in general, they fill such huge needs in the community, and businesses are one of those, industries or whatever. Businesses can do so much good in the community. This is a great example of that.
I think it's better when they donate, because then an organization like this camp, foundation can actually take it and run with it.
Exactly.
Rather than the business bogging itself down with
Yep.
actually fulfilling,
100%.
the mandate. So
Definitely.
I agree.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Okay, we'll be back right after this.
So you probably heard in the preamble, but passenger traffic has spiked at Greater Sudbury Airport. It's still
Yeah.
about half what it was before COVID.
Huh.
But it's the greatest. It's at the greatest point it has been since COVID.
then.
So
Yeah.
if you
Half.
can unpack that.
So it's half of what it was before COVID, but then during COVID, it was zero or just point something. There was very little travel.
Yep.
And now it's half as good as it was before COVID, which is as good as it's been since.
Right.
Yes. It's never been better since
Do the math.
COVID right now. But
Yeah,
before COVID, we're only at half.
It's like
of what
those
it was.
year-over-year things
Yeah.
where they'll say, "This was our best year since last year," and it's like, yeah, last year was the worst year of all time.
Exactly.
So it's not much of an improvement.
Yeah, we're making progress. Doing a lot better now. But so are you you just traveled yourself, but you chose to drive. You didn't fly.
Yeah, we were between the two. We were kind of doing the costs between them. You know what pushed us over the edge? It wasn't the flight.
What pushed you over the edge?
It was the rental,
Okay.
car rental.
Yeah?
Did I move the camera by accident?
No.
Okay, thank
No.
you.
I'm trying to do this without any kind of
It's all good.
whatever, just to put
Just
you in
do
the
it.
middle. Yeah.
So it was the car rental that pushed us over the edge
Yeah.
because flying is actually relatively, affordable
Okay.
compared to gas. Because gas has gotten so expensive that now flying actually makes sense.
Wow. That's crazy. And
But
even
it's
though
the car rental that doesn't make sense.
planes have to pay for gas too, so that doesn't make much sense. But you know what I mean?
Not gas, it's
It's fuel.
different,
Okay.
They're not competing with us
No,
for their gas.
you're right.
It's a completely different thing.
It's true. They get it from different sources, and it costs different for them.
Jet fuel, pretty cool.
Jet fuel.
I don't think they're ever going to have a jet fuel shortage
No.
because it's much more like refined than our gas.
Is that what jet fuel is? It's refined gas?
I'm guessing it's really high octane
It would be.
because their engines need to run really cleanly, so they don't explode midair.
So do you think it's just the trend's gonna keep going up? People look, you just to get
I
on a
don't know.
plane. You don't just get on a plane. You don't just kind of wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm gonna fly somewhere.
Yeah.
You plan it ahead of time. And so if mandates have just recently been lifted or whatever, or changed, or just paused, as a lot of people are saying, then you're like now going, oh, yes, Grandma, we need to visit her in BC.
Now it doesn't seem like the time to do that, though.
What's that?
Everything's still precarious.
Yeah.
As far as like they could tomorrow, they could be like, actually, no, you can't fly without vaccine. And then if you're not vaccinated, then you're stuck.
Oh, yeah. They change it while you're on vacation.
It's an attitude thing.
And you can't get back.
I think if we had leadership with a different attitude, it would be different. Because there's a certain like social contract between us and a ruling party.
Okay.
That we kind of understand the direction that they're trying to move.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right now, I've heard lots of people complaining about this. Not complaining. Complaining is not a good word. Heard lots of people protesting about this.
Okay.
About the new gun freeze on gun ownership, like buying handguns. Handguns. And like for instance, if a different party was in charge, there just wouldn't be that fear.
Yeah.
Like it might get passed in the legislation, like they might get the votes or whatever.
Yeah.
But the party that's in minority or majority makes a big difference because the attitude, the prevailing attitude of people.
Yeah.
Is so with this whole vaccine thing, that's what it is for me.
It's their
It's more of the prevailing attitude. It's
Yeah.
not so much the policy.
Oh, there is another.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's another story kind of related to that, Sudbury centric. We talked about the public health, right, here, and the director making exorbitant amounts of money. Well, they just hired an assistant.
Oh, good.
So, because now, it's like
A new graduate, right?
Yeah, when you get to be the
right.
assistant manager at Tim Hortons, who ends up doing all the work? The manager or the assistant manager?
Well, that's the whole point of having an assistant manager.
So now they have an assistant because...
Presumably. Too much work.
Because with $800 and some thousand for a year, you can afford to hire an assistant, apparently.
You can hire 8 assistants.
Is that going to come out of her pay, or is that just going to be additional on top of...
No. Yeah, that's not going to come out of her pay.
No.
But I don't think $800,000 is a normal salary for her. I think that's like
a COVID.
4 times what her normal salary is.
It was a COVID salary.
Exactly.
Somehow. Did everyone get a COVID salary out there?
No, but not everyone worked more than normal, right?
How do you... Well, a lot of people did work a lot,
Well,
right?
I'm sure they got paid for it then.
Yeah.
Has another contract law I learned all about.
Of? What?
These truckers, this is a while ago. This isn't like a super recent one, but their contract said shippers and packers will get paid overtime. No,
Yeah.
shippers and packers are exempt from getting paid overtime.
So they have to work overtime
But
hours?
it wasn't clear whether they meant shippers and packers or shippers and packers.
Oh, okay.
So
if that was a whole new category, shippers
yeah,
and
it was
packers.
a new category. So
Yeah.
the truckers went to the company and said, we want to get paid overtime.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you guys are shippers. And they said, but we're not shippers and packers. So they got paid overtime.
That's awesome.
And the judge awarded it to them.
Yeah, because shippers and packers is one thing.
And they were
Someone
like,
who
that's
does
not what
both.
we do. So we're not exempt.
So they have to have shippers and then say they're
It was like a
exempt
simple grammatical
packers.
mistake.
That's right, yeah.
But that's the way contracts are.
That's why when you read legal papers, you can't even understand it because they have to speak their own language.
Yeah, I guess I'm like vetting myself to see if I actually care about this before I consider a career.
In what, legal? Oh,
Going
yeah.
in the law field. But we're very preliminary still.
Well, it would make sense if you're running for mayor that you be a lawyer at the same time.
No, I don't think so. Not in Sudbury.
Yeah.
I think it's better to be like a mobster.
See, Paul Lefebvre, who's running,
Lawyer.
he's a lawyer. He's also a business person, and he's a former MP. So he's got a lot of things going for him.
Mobster.
What are you gonna say to a person like Paul Lefebvre when you run against him?
We know what you would do because we've seen it.
Oh, okay. Like we already
Just
seen what
run
you
on
did.
your record. Stop lying.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to do, too, with whoever's running against the incumbent, Brian Bigger. You can say, well, this is what you've done for the X amount of years. We've gone from $19 million to $300 million debt,
Yeah.
right? Similar you'll do to a Paul Lefebvre, but holding him accountable on his federal things he voted for,
Yeah.
things he's done.
When you took office, the deficit was none.
Yeah.
Now the deficit is this.
But he wasn't entirely responsible for that. He could say, well, that was my leader, not
Yeah.
me. I wasn't the leader.
Yeah, just look
of
at
the
his
party.
voting record.
Yeah.
Anyone can pull that. It's public.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I believe these things. I'm saying if I'm running against him, these are the these are the points that I would make.
That's what you're going to make when you run against him. Exactly.
I'm not
That's
going to
what
run
you
against him.
Oh.
Were I to. Yeah, the thing with a person like Lefebvre is you just point at his ivory tower status. You know, it's like you've been in a thing.
You're one of those.
You're one of them.
You're one of them.
You've already had your chance.
Yeah.
Name the top 3 improvements that you made.
Yeah.
And run on that.
And how are we not to know that, that he's an installment from the feds to run the city? You know what I mean? Anyways, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we want our guy in there. Like, no, if I was running against him, that's what I would at least put it out to the people. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know he's not just one of Trudeau's, he's just going to have a puppet? Because that happens.
Trudeau is a puppet.
Again, it's down the line, right? Like there's a puppet of a puppet of a puppet, usually, is what happens in politics. Political puppets. Is that your new book?
Political puppets?
Yeah.
No, it's too confusing.
Puppets of politics?
Speaking about federal programs,
Yep.
we don't have to do a transition. But
No, because we're almost out of time.
This new dental program, to me, this is like, you could make a meme out of this.
Yeah,
It's so comical.
yeah,
Because they've decided that the new dental program is just going to cost double what they thought originally.
yeah,
And it's like, I guess $5 billion isn't a lot of money
yeah.
when you're a liberal NDP.
No. But this is the thing. So when I read that article too,
That's a lot of money.
they said, oh, it's going to cost more than we thought. Like, is that a surprise? Are you like, oh, I'm surprised?
Exactly. That's why it's funny.
I'm surprised it's going to cost more money now.
We just voted for them in 2021
Yeah.
based on this, among other
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't come back now and be like, well, it's
Yeah.
actually going to cost double. We're still going to do it.
I know.
It's like, we didn't agree to that.
Yeah. It's like when Biden ran, he said he's not going to increase taxes one bit. His thing is going to be, his platform isn't going to cost anyone any money. And then it was like he
Only
came
the
out with
rich.
$1 trillion budget, $3 trillion, I forget what it was, just trillions that he's asking for.
Trillions.
But yet he said it was not going to cost anything.
Yeah, it only costs you 6% on your savings.
It's like, what the? Anyways, it wouldn't be the first time politicians would be caught, fibbing. A few good points coming
That's
in
why
here.
I think it is good to have lawyers as politicians, because then they can't claim ignorance.
Yeah, that's true.
You say, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
But who's really when was the last time we saw a politician really being held accountable legally?
Well, you'd have to elect me mayor to find out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to run for
You
mayor.
don't see it because we have this belief, or we have, I guess when you hear the most cynical people feel that politicians are above the law. Well,
Yeah, they kind of are.
show me one that's been convicted of something. And they do things that legally
Rob Ford.
they should be convicted for. Anybody. Again, right? Like if we did some of the things that are done, we would be convicted.
Have you heard about this controversy with Doug Ford's business, like creating these graphics during the pandemic? Like the floor graphics or something? It's like his family owns an interest in one of the companies that created like signs, like the stick-on signs.
Oh, for the
And his
plates.
net worth like over 10 times.
Okay.
So it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's a conspiracy. I think that that's just
For sure.
that's just politics. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it's like if someone came to me and said, Lockheed Martin is, it's not insider information, but no one really is paying attention. And they
For
go,
sure.
Lockheed Martin's developing some new electric jet engine or something.
Yeah.
I would invest in that.
Yeah. Well, even just to end the show here with some of the comments that I know Miles was talking about delegation when we were talking about the assistant manager thing. It's true that delegation. And Jerome basically looks at the COVID as being a very politicized divisional weapon, which I do agree with. And Glenn Thibault from Sudbury, we had that example of a flip-flop politician. And then pharmaceutical bribery could possibly be happening too, with this whole politicized health situation that we have going on currently. Mm-hmm. So anyways, speaking of that, really meaty topic and topic to be continued on Monday. Thanks for joining us. We breaking news, Facebook Live, YouTube Live at the same time. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, you can do that as well. So thanks for everyone listening on CKLU 96.7 FM, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. See you same time, same place, Monday morning. Thanks, Zach.
Ciao.
Ciao, everyone.